सुनने के बाद
Hello and good evening. You're watching the Policy Times Unleashing India Global Web Summit series, one of Policy Times flagship important and elite program where we invite different speakers from different part of the world and different having expertise in different field to talk on and how the objective is we all together can contribute in nation building. So a nation, whether it is India in this case, such a big country having such immense potential, having despite this next 30 to 50 years belong to India. But despite all these facts, there are a couple of shortcomings, there are a couple of areas of improvement, and that is where we bring experts to talk that how we all together through this discussion develop a roadmap to achieve nation building and national development. Post COVID, Dr.Sekhar is terming it as national reincarnation, as COVID has done absolute miracle in terms of socio-economic upheaval in the society. Uh, Now today we will talk on two very important topics. Again, I just repeat that Policy Times is a media which does not talk and discuss about issues which are not of much importance, but uh, most of the other media covers the prominent issues. We have a very set agenda, and we are leading a silent revolution in the form of contributing uh, through media nation building. Healthcare and sports. These are two of the most important perspectives and priorities of nation. In fact, just to talk on healthcare, I believe Policy Times at the place of Policy Times, I believe it has to be absolutely made free. Uh, Healthcare and education, because these are two things which play a very important role for a nation and for its citizen. Sports is not only it does create employment and a lot of economic sense. It is actually a sense of pride. Recently, we saw in Olympics, we won a couple of medals, but the kind of pride we got out of it was immense. Like that. Sports is a pride. Healthcare is a necessity. Now, today we'll talk on this topic, two topics, and we have two speakers, experts coming from this background, sharing their perspective on this. I'd be very excited to hear from them. This session is chaired by Dr.P.Sekhar, who is chairman of Unleashing India Global Smart City Panel. Again, a thinker, author, entrepreneur, policy influencer, and now dedicated his life in nation building. Without taking any more time, I will request Dr. Sekhar to kindly take over the session. And since he himself is an authority in a lot of the policy issues of the nation, and under his concept, he is a father of the concept of the called secured governance, and by which we are also trying to get a lot of solutions for various national problem that we have. So I would request Dr. Sekhar also to kindly make a short presentation on the topic. So I would request Dr. Sekhar to kindly take over the session.
Thank you, Akram. Welcome to our both enlightened speakers today. Today's topic is on healthcare and sports. They are very intermingled one. Of course, healthcare, the expert today will talk more on hearing aids, and sports, our person will talk of some of the software, some of the way forward for this particular topic. Now, this particular series today is the 126th session. We started in May last year, and it is going on without a break every week twice. And we have got very, very good speakers, very good topic. because it's a necessity. It is not to show some glorification. That's why the 100th one we didn't celebrate. We ensured that it is going well. It is performing is the objective. It is making people feel that yes, there are experts in each sector who will contribute to the growth of the country, growth of the nation. And like you said, I'm calling it reincarnation. Why? Because COVID, without doing anything, it has destroyed the economy. It is a war played without a gun, without any, destruction of physical property, and it has done far more than what a war would have done. War ends in 5 days, 10 days, 20 days. This is going on for the last 1.5 years and more, and there is no end to it. So let us not dream that there is going to be COVID. Without COVID, we are going to live. That's why even when we talk of post-COVID, we are talking of post-COVID from last year March. We are not talking of something like something is going to end and we are going to have some this thing. So we have to live with it. It is one more serious. Aren't we living with cancer? Aren't we living with TB? Aren't we living with so many things? So it's better that we do not even know this. But experts are required to see that each sectorial growth are very well planned. Each sectorial growth takes into account some of the realities. So some of the realities are real realities. Some of them are, exaggeratedly real realities. We always believe that COVID is like a scorpion bite, which is made into a dinosaur attack. So scorpion bite is equally bad, but we could have done scorpion bite in a different way. We need not have taken it to the level in which we have been taken. But when mob thing goes on, none of us can argue anything. So let us live with it. Let us live with the enemy, sleep with the enemy, but at the same time, progress and prosper. So today I have two very good experts, and we have a very youngster called Nihal Pradeep. He is a basketball player, and he has done some immense work in trying to develop, healthcare in sports through his own software called Dartel, I think. Now, these take measures for each sportsman, how he should be, what he should be, what is the way, they can be judged, what is the way each sports requires. So I would like him to talk about his product first, himself first, and then I have our friend Vinoo Raina. He is a gem of a person in terms of his achievements. He is a Kashmiri Pandit, resettled. He doesn't talk anything about the problems of Kashmir. He talks purely of the way he can contribute whatever possible. See the person, sitting here, he has made some of the foreign companies put a huge amount of money for COVID. I would not put the name, the thing, he doesn't want those things to be told, for COVID in Navi Mumbai. Navi Mumbai, he also is the chairman of a Gymkhana, one of the most flourishing Gymkhana, which is also because of COVID in deep trouble. So today, even I say flourishing, he may not like the word, but the prestige he commands, he himself may not know. So that is Nerul Gymkhana. And he is above all, or in fact, he says he is a hearing aid expert. He is somebody we would like to love to hear from him on how, we give least importance to hearing. Hearing is so important because we always say, there are enough people to talk. There are few people to listen. And he ensured that the listening is something which will be good. If you are a good listener, you are a good knowledgeable person, and which he brings through technology, ensuring that people have a good hearing aids. He will also, we would, ask him more details on that. So let me start by, what the format I like to follow is, I would like each of the speakers to talk 5 minutes about themselves and what they are doing during COVID. Then whatever way Akram said, I'll run through a small presentation. I'll take 10 minutes to run through healthcare and sports, but in a broader dimension. Then come back to each speakers, and then each one in their own particular sector, how they are going to contribute, how others have to contribute, what all things have to be done to make India and the world a better place to live in spite of COVID on these two sectors. So let me request Mr. Raina to first speak 5 minutes about himself and his pre-COVID or during COVID. Mr. Raina.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Sekhar and everybody on the panel, or Mr. Nihal, also a great sportsman. Talking about myself, my name is Vinoo Raina. A brief introduction. I am a BTech chemical from LIT Nagpur, was a very prestigious institute, is still Lakshmi Institute of Technology, but mainly known for chemical engineering. UDST and LIT and IIT Mumbai, IIT Chennai were the top three. I am the chairman of Nerul Gymkhana on my social front. to contribute to the society. It was very important to do something. I started my career in Alpha Level and Thermax before venturing on my own and started a company called GN Resound in India, which I ultimately sold to the principals in the year 2007. I am the president of Hearing Aid Association of India also, which is the, all the hearing aid manufacturers are members. All the hearing aid companies are represented in India, means they are all subsidiaries. Only my company today, of which I am the MD, Otic Hearing Solutions Private Limited, is a 50-50 joint venture between me and my principals, William D. Mart of Denmark. Now, there are only top 5 companies as far as hearing aids are concerned. We'll come to that later. Again, about Nerul Gymkhana. Nerul Gymkhana is a crusade by the citizens of Navi Mumbai for the social, recreation and sports for the people of Navi Mumbai at large and Nerul in particular. That is the objective and aim of the trust. But we do a lot of social work under it. We had a mission for, we do a lot for sports also. We had a mission 2010, keeping the Commonwealth Games in focus at the start. And we did train a lot of people, a lot of our children in cricket have represented IPL also, 2 of them. Jahangir Ansari, one of them, being one of them. We have produced a lot of under 18, under 16 tennis players who have come up to the rank of 20 also. So this is about myself. And during COVID, what I did is I got some funding from abroad, and we contributed around 6 BiPAP machines, 1 ventilator, and 1 portable X-ray machine to NMMC in the presence of Mr. Abhijit Banga, who is a dynamic, I can say a dynamic municipal commissioner I have met, a really dynamic man. The CMOs, Dr. Gadge was there, and everybody else was there. So it was a small, token of help which I could do, which I thought I am fit of doing, and we did it. And apart from that, through Nerul Gymkhana, we had a lot of community kitchens, we had a lot of help for our own people in our small way, which we could do. And this is all about myself and Ram. I'm running a hearing aid company. As I told you, I will come to it later. We are not only a hearing aid company, we are into diagnostic equipments, mainly ENT diagnostic equipment and mainly ear diagnostic equipment, and into cochlear implants. Cochlear implants is a world to go in India, a long way to go, and I will come to it later. This is all about myself, as you know. Thank you very much.
You are sharp on time.
Okay.
Okay. Very nice. Even digitally, it is the exact 5 minutes. Okay. Nihal, it's a challenge to you. Yes, kept 5 means 5 minutes sharp. So Nihal,
thank you.
About you and your post-COVID number.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Sekhar, and thank you so much, Akram. And of course, it's a great privilege to share the same, virtual stage with Mr. Vinoo Raina as well. Of course, he has mentioned his accolades and how he has contributed positively to the society, and then his amazing achievements that span so many years is into it over, I would say, over a decade and so. So to talk about myself, a brief introduction. My name is Nihal Pradeep, and I'm a resident of Kerala, India. And I am officially a technology person. I did my graduation in BTech Computer Science and Engineering. And since then, I worked for a US company on an e-commerce front, worked on multiple technologies, did some consulting business in Kerala and for clients in India and globally. And the thing about me is, since I was very small, I realized the exact mission or vision in my life, which I really wanted to do, was solve this problem in sports in India. Because me personally, I am a basketball player as well. And when I was back in my school, I really wanted to take sports as my career. Participatory sports was what I saw Nihal would be achieving in his life. But eventually, I ended up being in the IT. And for me, I thought, I never could let go of sports. And now I have the chance to use technology to make sure that sports development in India is accelerating. And therefore, I carry this idea since I was small, since 2008, all the way to my college, and now to my company, where we've actually built a product that we believe is going to be a huge change driver in creating a sporting ecosystem in our country. We want to create more sporting opportunities. Now, with Olympics just happened, like Mr. Vinoo Raina mentioned, the importance of sports, or he is himself, his Gymkhana has successfully been able to provide opportunities for people in sports. He had a mission for Commonwealth. And India as a whole has been progressing and has now captured huge accolades in Olympics. I think this has been a really wonderful Olympics for India as a country. And we've been really proud. But what I want to do is I want to make India even more prouder. I want to make sure that India gets the global representation it deserves in terms of all the popular sport that is available. Because India has a huge potential. You see, in globally, just looking at sports globally, India has one of the highest grossing league tournaments in our country, which is IPL. And although we see India as a cricketing nation, there are so many sports that are coming up thanks to a lot of investments, a lot of companies taking that initiative to uplift sports in our country, and a lot of other baby leagues and events that are coming up, which of course I would like to touch upon a little later. The government is doing its own role to try to bring sports into education again. And all of these change drivers together contributing to an surmounting amazing growth. So what we as Dartel are doing is we are creating a data-driven approach to make sure that the players from the remotest of villages get access to proper sporting opportunities. Because due to a lot of these leagues coming out, a lot of teams and players, or a lot of teams, academies, scouts, sports agents are looking for players. And we can make sure that these opportunities reach the right individuals at the right time. So that's about me and Dartel. And
no problem. No problem. You made it half a minute before 5 o'clock. Good. So I'm confident. So what I will do now, I will run through a small presentation on healthcare and sports, so that we are on the same wavelength by the time we come to the actual talk. So this I will do it in 10 minutes time. So I will also keep the time and the need to have the real talk in terms of the national reincarnation. Okay, it is just loading. Yeah. So today's topic, as we all know, is enhanced role of healthcare and sports for national reincarnation. Now, as we all know, sports and healthcare. Why there was need of sports? Sports was needed because we wanted to flex our muscles on a more enjoyable way. Okay, so discovered so many types of avenues, and sports is a generic term. It could be right from the way we move our hand, right from the way we do. And India, as such, had invented yoga and so many other related phenomena. Now, as you know, when we talk of India, we should know the complexity, we should know the opportunities as well as the huge amount of problems which are there. Opportunity is India is, almost 1.35 billion people. It has got land, water, everything, but everything in a wrong place in a wrong time. So that everything is in short and everything is in excess. We have floods in one place, we have shortage of water in one place. We have huge land in one place. We are only occupying 0.45% of India. 9.6% is free. But we don't have land at the right place. None of the cities are overcrowded. We got 25 million people in Bombay, 22 million people in Delhi. And there are 67 towns above 1 million people. So these are some of the problems and opportunities. Okay, we need not talk about only problems. Now, we started this post-COVID because COVID has done thing which nobody can believe that anything like this can ever happen. It looks like हेलो, क्या हो गया?
But can you?
स्क्रीन इज नॉट मिसिंग, स्क्रीन नहीं दिखती है। एक मिनट, मैं वापस लेकर, डोंट, सॉरी। These are all technological.
Now you can continue, Rishi.
You can see?
Yeah, we can see.
You can see overview of healthcare.
Now we can see your first slide. Now,
First,
print slide.
Wait.
Should I go?
One minute. Just I have to get to the slide mode. I think there's something loose today.
Yeah, so
What I will do, I will just give a generic talk only. Do not worry. So so we don't lose time. I want to keep my time in terms of 10 minutes. Okay. So all that I brought out in those series of slides, which I will send it to anyway after the show is over. We are saying that the importance of sports in terms of various sectorial growth. It's important because nowadays it has come as part of education. There was a time when you have a PT, physical trainer, who just says right, left, right, left, right, left. That is what was sports. Because we were left behind to the streets by the British. So no use today's blaming today's British people during those times. So we were left as a 350 million people country, and with the 27 years as our average lifespan, and whatever, so many things looted, so many things done, so many things are things. We will not go into those things. But we started off as a 350 million people country on a very low level. So from that point of view, we have really grown. So while growing, there are so many things which has happened. Okay. Let us directly come to healthcare and sports. In healthcare, we have done reasonably well. So much so that today the whole world is looking at India from the pharma industry, from medical industry, from all the most prominent doctors anywhere in the world are from India. Okay, anywhere in the world, many times people say in China things are not being said. Even in China, many of the most prominent people are Indian sitting somewhere. Even in Japan, but less number. Western world is much more prominent, much more this. Whereas in sports, for some reason, we have not done what we should have done. Okay. We are far behind in sports. Whatever we may say in Olympics, just by taking 7 and 8 medals, when most of the countries have got gold medals, much more than 10 times more, many times. We are not. So at the same time, India has got tallest of the tall, fairest of the fairest, darkest of the dark, shortest of the short, bulkiest people, everything we have got, right from the snub-nosed people to the longest-nosed people we have got. Even since we are talking of hearing expert people with sharpest ear, who will even hear things from the far away we have got, because, if you hear Mahabharata, sitting in a room, this thing, the king could know what is happening in the war. That means they could hear and see. So many things are there, but we have not done really justice to ourselves. Something really different has to be done by our people, and that's where importance of this. And when we take sports along with health, there is nothing better than that, because sports alone cannot be a standalone subject, cannot do any justice if you take sports alone. Healthcare can be, of course, standalone. Healthcare is healthcare because it has nothing to do with sports at all. But healthcare with sports can have a devastating impact, because healthcare and sports can give, we always say that it is not GDP which is for growth. It is a happiness index which will be taken care. Healthcare and sports will give you the happiness index. Healthcare and sport will give you the joy of life. Okay, otherwise, we always say you are the ultimate healthcare and ultimate, artificial intelligence and all. In some other context, I just say we will all be in ICU. In ICU, you can keep sleeping and everything will be taken care by the by the system. So which we don't want. We want a really jovial, really outgoing, really something which is very good for all of us. So sports has to go in its own way, and the sports has to be seen right from a smallest child to the oldest person. It need not be only for Olympic. Olympic should come by itself. At least next Olympic, we should triple or that type of. Then next to next should be, we should get what we are, because we are the country with second largest number of population. So even in terms of the medals, we have to be number 2. We cannot be number 42, which is absolutely disgraceful, 42 or 48. So what is not good has to be said as not good, and then we should improve upon it. On the healthcare front, we have to consolidate for a different reason. Today, the whole world is looking at India for leadership. We interact with all the people in the world. They say all our bosses in our own country are Indians. Okay. This is a statement I heard from hundreds of people, foreigners, who say that whichever company they are, whichever this they are, there's somebody in India which is welcome, which is not a hated community. So because of that, in healthcare, we have to consolidate and grow into a different magnitude. There are a lot of R&D has to be done, coupled with sports, so that it becomes an enjoyable. Today, healthcare means what? Oh, so I felt sick, I got fever, I'm suspecting, I have a heart attack, then only I'll go to healthcare. No. Healthcare should be taken as something which is for keeping you happy, keeping you healthy. There are today systems available by which even if something is going to fail, we come to know well in advance. So can we keep it properly? Can we have good healthy habits so that we don't even need any medicine? So these type of things are there. And since I have an expert who is more of an hearing aid expert, ears are something which is as important a component in life as any other part of the body. And it is just taken for granted. That is the problem. Okay. Like I said in the beginning, we can hear everything everywhere. But at the same time, we don't want to hear what we should be hearing. So, and we will give advice to the whole world. What I do not know also, I'll go and say what Prime Minister should do, what somebody should do, what past should have been, what future should have been. Let us hear the right things through the right technology, through the right So today I will not run through my presentation. I will end here and let us come to the core core discussion from Mr. Vinoo Raina. Now with Vinoo Raina, I will make it more like question answer, so that he could be he could explain the topic, because he feels hearing aid is not it's a boring topic. I think hearing aid is not a boring topic. Hearing aid, because hearing is something which all of us do. Today we are sitting and listening, talking of all the subjects for our hearing aid. So without hearing, we can't do anything in our lives. So that being what is seeing and hearing are two very important phenomena. Again, like I'm saying, differentiating between health and this thing. So when I see, I hear. What all other things are all different. So from your point of view, on a hearing perspective, can you give first an overall feel of this particular subject, and from a generic point of view, and from a sports point of view on a lower level? Because from a generic point of view is also something which is very important. Mr. Raina.
Okay. See, I will start with the hearing health. What is hearing basically? A human being, if we take a human being, why is different? Why he evolved as a superior being, living thing on this planet was because of two things. Intelligence, human intelligence, which is called communication skills. One thing is very clear. If you don't hear, you can't speak. You can't speak, you can't communicate. So from that perspective, hearing is the most important thing. If you don't hear, world is over for you. You hear, you means you, me, everybody, we hear 24/7 without any disturbance, without any obstruction, 24/7, even when we are asleep, we hear. So just know how important brain, ears and brain. It is ear and brain. Without that, you cannot hear. They keep on working 24/7 into 72 years, which is the average age of an Indian. Let us take from it Indian perspective. Now, when a child is born, just note it, he has to hear 40,000 hours of active listening before a child can utter a complete sentence. Such is the hearing is so important. Now, world has, if you see, if you would have interacted, there must be so many people who must not be hearing very well. So many people, because it is such a neglected thing in India. If you know, over 5, as per whose data of World Health Organization data of 2019, 5% of world population, that means 40 crore log, are hearing impaired. I will not call them deaf because there are lot of activities, and to be respectable those persons, we call them hearing impaired. 40 crore is a massive figure. And by 2050, because we are going to pubs, we are using headphones all the time, the pilots, everybody, by 2050, it is estimated that 70 crore people in the world, when world population will be only 700 crore. Today, it is 780 crore. By 2050, they say world will come down to 680 crores overall. 70 crore will be hearing impaired. Such is the impact. And can you imagine the effect on the society? I will deliberate upon it later in the talk. And according to WHO data, it was WHO data for 2019. WHO data for 2018 is that India is having 6.3% of the population, that is 9 crore, is hearing impaired, which is a mind-boggling figure. You can see how unhealthy the society is. We don't watch, but it is really a very unhealthy society, because these 9 crore people, you will be really astonished. Only 80 or 90 lakhs go to an ENT or for rehabilitation or some sort of advice. They die with this, creating lot of problems in the society, which we neglect as a society. This is very important. And there are 2 types of hearing impairments. General, I'm telling you, layman. One, which is when you are born. Hearing loss in children. You are born by birth. Second is when you develop as you age. And it happens to everybody. Like your knees go, like your eyes go, like your hair go, like my hair. So it is a question of by age, But looking at these statistics, the severity of this issue is so hard on the society. It is really very hard. Western countries, they take a lot of care in it. And another thing with hearing health is, it doesn't come with fever. It doesn't have pain. It doesn't have, any other impact rather than कि आपके घर में किसी ने वॉल्यूम बढ़ा दिया टीवी का. And Indians, we speak at a very high decibel. तो जैसे मैं चिल्लाता हूँ anything on phone, so my mother can hear. So she feels she doesn't have any loss. And it is with all of us. All of us. So what is needed really in India, correct, is testing and screening is a must. And if you look at Western world, there's a huge protocol. I'm telling you, as an MD of Beltone hearing chain in India, once I sold my company in 2008, we had such a big protocol. Even before giving an hearing aid for test, such a big protocol, which I will develop next time, such a big protocol, even hearing aid testing. It was around 15-page protocol. And I am very, I have tried, as being pioneer in hearing aid industry along with Siemens, I have tried my best to put these protocols, but unfortunately, something has happened. I'm not saying something has not happened, but not much has happened in this way. I will take 2 minutes on testing and screening. I have prepared a long list. Can go continue. I have prepared it, but I'm telling you, testing and screening is such a must thing for these children. It has to be done immediately. For example, I'm talking about newborn. When a baby is born, the protocol has to be, this test is called OAE, autoacoustic emission, which gives you an idea, is baby hearing? Now, this test has not to be conducted once. It has to be conducted 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, over a period of 3 years. That is the protocol. That has to be done. I will come to ministry and everything in the second point, depending on how much time I have. But just see, now I told you 9 crore people. How much unhealthy out of these 6 crore are children by birth? What a data it is. What a data which I have presented to Ministry of Social Welfare and Justice. I met Mr. Thawarchand Gehlot in 2015. That was regarding cochlear implants and what to do with babies. Now Mr. Thawarchand Gehlot is gone as governor of, I think, Kerala only. I don't know, if I'm not sure, maybe. But this is, you have to do the screening. Now, as far as adult population is concerned, the people who work in diesel engines, the people who work as pilots, the people who work as in army as gunmen, everybody who is working so. Now we take sports people who do in shooting, they wear headphones, but फिर भी they get into this hearing impairment thing. But for sportsmen, there is a very strong protocol, which I'm not very sure of, but it is there because shooting is mainly being done in army for the sports people. But they follow a real protocol. They get it tested every 6 months. It is called, for adults, it is not a very difficult test, but if you follow the protocol every 6 months, you have to get it done through the equipment is called pure tone audiometry system. It is called pure tone audiometry system. And if you follow that, your testing, you can lead a very normal life. This is like that. And then there are tests called BERA, brain stem evoked response audiometry, for the sportsmen, for pilots, for people working in diesel engines, mainly for all of them who work in noise, for traffic police. There is a big protocol for that. It is already in place even in India. It is not that it is not there, but we don't follow it. But sportsmen, shooting, I am aware, they follow it on a large scale. If they don't follow it, shooting mainly, even wrestling, वहाँ पे शोर होता है, boxing, because you get punched, you have to get tested. And if you have a problem, you have to go for rehabilitation, otherwise your career is over. So in Oticon, my company, we have a total solution because we are into hearing aids also. We are into ENT equipment, diagnostic equipments, mainly ear equipments. We are into that, and we have now come into cochlear implants also. So we have a full package. That is why I am aware of these things, because we have the full package for these things. How much time I have left, Mr. Doctor?
What we can do, we'll have Nihal and then I'll come back.
Yeah, so I will take in short. What I have talked about is how important is hearing health, how much population is left, how sports is affected here, how we have to screen them for a very healthy society.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll come back anyway.
Okay.
Nihal, now you are integrating sports with healthcare, and whatever instruments you got, of course, for you, I'm sure you are doing something on hearing also. It could be a minor portion of what you're going to talk. In terms of health versus sports, how do you think it is getting coupled? How do you think it is getting integrated? And how do you think its importance from a nation point of view, from the sports winning point of view, and generally to have Indians as a healthy person? Nihal.
Yes. So definitely. So in order to answer that, I think I have a small slide prepared as well. I'll just run through it in 10 minutes maybe. So just bring that up. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yeah, great. So again, the topic that we were discussing today is how sports is going to impact, or what is the impact of sports on reincarnating the nation, like Dr. Sekhar rightfully put it. It's very important that we look at sports from a different angle. Right? So we've been talking about the Olympics since it's happened in a quite recent event. We've taken a lot of pride in the medals that we've achieved, but just in terms of participatory sports, there's a long way to go. And in terms of health and wellness, the impact of sports or the role sports plays is something a lot of people forget. So let's just quickly see what people normally see in sports. So usually, when you ask the question, when I talk to my mom or my parents or my peers about why sports, the first thing that they are always going to say is entertainment. Because it's huge entertainment. I myself personally have no idea how I would have survived COVID if sports had stalled for a longer period. Because I remember when COVID hit and all the sporting leagues announced that they were going to have to either cancel or shut down the sporting events, I was going blank. I had no idea. I couldn't play. I couldn't watch sports. And I could feel this huge disconnect within myself. The sheer entertainment value is amazing. I don't know any other moment in history where so many individuals has gasped their breath. When in the World Cup, it was Argentina versus Germany and Mario Götze scored that winning goal. I remember, I could hear that sigh. I was sitting in a home, and this is no exaggeration. I was sitting at my friend's place. We were watching the match, and the whole streets started sighing. It was like, I could see that. And that was huge for me. That entertainment value that sports bring is really something else. And in terms of opportunities, a lot of sports is primarily a huge avenue which the youth can explore, which economists can explore, because there's so much money that is involved. Again, the socio-economic impact of sports. There's so much money that is being pumped into sports, and how much it affects the behavioral patterns, the cognitive conditioning of a person. Sports has so much role to play in that. And youth development as a whole. When you talk about youth development, sports plays a significant impact. And it has been under a topic of study by major governance bodies, major healthcare organizations across the globe, the impact that sports has on overall both mental and physical health of the youth. And of course, India as a nation, it's been so long and it's been a long time coming, but the national education policy has rightfully put sports as the top agenda. And sports is now part of the national curriculum. The education curriculum. Sports is going to be a part of it. It's no longer considered extracurricular. This means more and more young people are going to get exposure to sports. They will start playing sports. They will experience sports at a very young age. It is very important that people get exposure to physical activity and sports at a very young age. And a lot of developmental activities are going towards making sports as a holistic learning tool. And this is what I was getting at, because the Indian perspective rather is that sports is something that is sheer entertainment, but the value that sports brings in a person's learning is really important. And that is where sport for development, this is an actual domain which uses sports as a medium or as a tool to ensure there is development. And in fact, UNICEF identified sports as a crucial component to ensure the physical and mental well-being of a child. It is considered a very integral component of a well-being and healthcare of a child. And in fact, United Nations Sustainable Development Goal also considers sports as an enabler for a lot of their sustainable development goals. Two of them, which I'll talk about, is good health and well-being and quality education, because they believe if a student has to get quality education, they have to have some sort of exposure to sports and physical activity. And it is proven in so many case studies that students who are autistic, students who have a lot of other impairments or psychological, imparities, they are brought or restored to actual society through sports. It's so heart touching, it's so warming to see this happen through sports. So many events. And one particular case study that we can all, I'm not going to go into detail, but something that you can always look into is how Matare Youth Sports Association has used S4D as a framework to create an amazing positive impact in socio-economic development. And of course, entertainment. I just touched upon entertainment, but with COVID, the complete entertainment ecosystem in sports is reimagined, because now NBA has partnered with Microsoft. The National Basketball Association of the United States has partnered with Microsoft to give digital fan experiences. A lot of stadiums in the English Premier League have created OLED boards where the fans can sit at their homes and they can still be in stadiums and experience the stadium like the esports, an amazing upcoming industry. And we're hearing esports is probably going to be part of major sporting tournaments and sporting venues. A lot of people are starting to see gaming as a career option. That's where esports is coming in. And now sports is really closer than ever to fans, because through social media and through other mediums, people are getting connected to their favorite player. Look at Lionel Messi, for example. Lionel Messi moving from Barcelona to PSG has generated so much revenue without even touching the ball, just for PSG. So much in merchandising, so much in t-shirt sales, so much in social media revenue. This is the kind of impact sports can have, and it's huge. As Dartel, what I want to talk about is Dartel is primarily, like I said, we are trying to build an ecosystem for sports. We're trying to bring together the scattered ecosystem of sports under a single umbrella. And one of the core essence of what Dartel does is we are a talent identification platform. And we ensure that players get proper visibility so that they can be scouted by teams and academies. And what Dartel can do on talent identification, we provide a systematic way to measure a player's strengths. And by creating such a systematic method, even players from the remotest of villages or from different places, disregarding their geographic barriers, they get an increased visibility and get access to players. And we also enable not just the players, but also coaches, agents, scouts, and academies to get new opportunities. And finally, this is going to create, because there are more opportunities, this is going to create more confidence in parents, and they're going to be more open to letting their children play. And events, one of the main problems why sports in India is not picking up. You take cricket out of the equation, if you look at any other sports, they do not have a proper grassroots to organized event management platform. End-to-end event management platform is not there. That is what we can provide. And this means parents can now get involved with their children right from their house through live streaming of sporting events. Parents can now get to experience their children play right from, even in their busy schedule, they can always do that. And through events, every player is going to have a recorded statistical and data-driven information available to the scouts. Whatever events they've participated in, the goals that they've scored, and all of these is going to play a huge role. And the last thing that I want to talk about is how health and fitness is a huge part. So Dartel, as a company, we are trying to channel sports through schools by partnering with schools, by taking Dartel not just as a sporting platform, but also as an avenue through which people can access to health and fitness. Because sports is not just about participatory sports and taking that opportunity. It's also about health and fitness. Of course, so much of health and fitness activities: cardiometabolic health, muscular strength, cardiorespiratory fitness, better self-esteem, academic achievement, lower anxiety, better cognitive functioning, increased attention, stronger peer friendship, greater confidence. And I did not have enough space on this slide to put all of the benefits that sports is going to bring to health. But the point here is very, very important. Sports and health, like Dr. Sekhar mentioned, are two sides of a single coin. By enabling sports through schools, what Dartel is doing is creating a new avenue for children to explore. Just like physics, chemistry, maths, and biology, sports is now going to become an option for them. And even if they do not want to choose sports as an option, they are generally going to be aware of how fit and healthy they are. not just them, but their school and parents as well. And this is what Dartel is doing. And thank you so much for bearing with me. And I hope I did not take too much time.
No. Absolutely not. Very nice to, yeah. So very nice to hear. Only before we quit, I would like to have one more small comment. Be prepared. How does it multiply in terms of national vision? So whatever you are doing is localized to what you are doing. How does it, imply for an overall growth of the country, growth of the sportsman, and how to make through this, a healthier people right from a small child. Now coming back to Mr. Vinoo Raina. Now you had said about the importance of hearing, importance of the the number of people who cannot hear. 400 million is a very, very big number, and so certain things are, of course, must be there to take care. How do we look at technology to play a role? And again, from our point of view of an healthy Indian, here is again whatever we say we have to hear, whether we like it or not. Like you're rightly saying, is one of the item along with brain is 24 hours active, which everybody should know the importance of this thing. We close our eyes, we know, and then but hearing is something which goes on. And what sort of technology, what sort of way forward which is there, by which we can see, it get it's a real good place from the point of view of technology, from the point of view of human being and human endurance and a human growth. Mr. Raina.
See, as far as technology is concerned, we have moved from hearing aids to now cochlear implants. Hearing aids has evolution. How much time we have, Dr. Sekhar? Technology.
5 minutes. Is it okay?
5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes. So hearing aids, when we came, there were analogs. People were not very comfortable with analogs. Then we moved to digitals. And digitals, a comfort level came and people started wearing hearing aids. When you wear hearing aids, you have to get used to it. You have to go get very, very used to it, then on it. But then the technology evolved. Now I can tell you, there is a product called More now, which has been launched by our company 1 year back. It has got a Polaris chip. And in that chip, we have 12 million environmental sounds fed into the chip, which is as good as neurons fitted in our neural system. That is the point. And that is one of the best hearing aid technology-wise, what can happen to the human beings, what can happen to this world. Because once you get to use, you get nearly a normal hearing, which is fantastic. Now I come to, as far as technology, from there we have moved to cochlear implants. For example, the children who are born deaf, I will use not the hearing impairment here, deaf, because they cannot hear anything. So they are deaf. For them, first I told you, screening is a must, immediate. And if we know them, we have to pick them up for cochlear implants. And the technology in cochlear implants today is amazing. Why? Cochlear implant, I don't have time for slides. We have made the slideshow also, but I will now explain like this. Cochlear implant is a unit. I don't know how many of you have seen. It has got a receiver here, a processor here, and implant is put inside the skull. It sits inside the skull, and the electrodes of the implant get into the cochlea, are put inside the cochlea of a person, and it corresponds with the brain. That is the technology, what is there in cochlear implants. Now, these cochlear implants used to take 2 to 3 hours of time earlier of surgery. Now, with our Neuro ZTI, which is a model of cochlear implant through Otic Medical, you can go through it. It will take only 40 to 50 minutes for a top-end surgeon to operate this operation, do this operation. And it's very easy to operate. Such is the level of technology what has moved up. Earlier, the processors used to be mega, which used to sit on the head of a small child. You can just imagine a 4-year-old child with a small ear and such a big processor on his head. He used to look like a robo. He used to look like, he used to feel ashamed to use it. His parents used to feel ashamed. But the technology has progressed so much in the field of cochlear implants and hearing aids that it is amazing. It will need at least 1 hour for me to really explain what technology is. The processor today is like a hearing aid, and the implant cannot be seen. It is inside the skull. So technology has moved in such a way. Now I will here add, apart from technology, two states. There was a scheme of EDIP through Government of India, Ministry of Social Welfare and Justice is called an EDIP scheme, in which two states did remarkably well. One is Madhya Pradesh and second is Kerala. The central government used to give 50% of the money and 50% was given by the states. And both these states performed a lot of operations, surgeries. In 2019, I have the data. I think 1,200 were done in MP and 1,200 done by Kerala governments. And other states also try to do, but a major problem with this technology is technologically you can get your instruments, you can do your surgery, rehabilitation, where we are lacking on a big way. Though we produce the maximum number of audiologists and speech pathologists in India, but the infrastructure for rehabilitation, mind you, this technology will not give you natural sound. This gives you some sound of digital, robotic sound, which only the implanted person after rehabilitation can make out what it is. And his brain also can make out. His or her brain will make out. So it is like that. So rehabilitation is a big part, which plays a big part. Government can give you money, but it will go waste once you do the surgery if you don't do rehabilitation. So you have to do a minimum 2 years rehabilitation by a speech pathologist at his place. Without that, it goes a waste, and that is what happened to all the states except Madhya Pradesh and Kerala, who geared up their infrastructure for speech therapy. It's called speech therapy, where with these robotic sounds you develop speech. But Dr. Sekhar, I will tell you, this technology, if we really use in India these cochlear implants on a big way, I'm telling you, we are going to have a very healthy society, extremely healthy society, because the numbers are staggering. If you see the list with the government of India, with the state government, I think today it is more than 2 to 3 lakhs is the queue for the children who are waiting to get a cochlear implant done. So technology is all right, everything is available, doctors can be trained, but now infrastructure has to come in a big way if we have to get these children into the mainstream and create a very, very healthy society. Without that, it cannot happen. Maybe these children only will become shooters, they become wrestlers, may become boxers. You never know. There are instances which Mr. Nihal will tell, so many deaf people have competed and won, not in Paralympics, in Olympics, we won a medal. So maybe these children, if we use good technology and make it available to them after rehabilitation, may turn out Olympic champions tomorrow. So that is the connection of health and sports, which was the topic today. But health, we have to bring these children into mainstream. And I will request the Ministry of Health and Social Justice again. We will go and meet them again. That make it mandatory, give us some budget to all the states, and central government should facilitate them with infrastructure as far as speech pathologists are concerned, so that money doesn't go down the drain after the surgeries. Any more question, Dr. Sekhar, on this?
Thank you. I think you answered it, and you gave
I speak from my heart because of my experience.
For you, because as you know, hearing is something which people take it for granted.
Yeah.
So now coming to the last one minute for each. Nihal, from your point of view, in terms of the overall development on a broader scale, far above Dartel, how do you think, a system like whatever you are trying to say and do, and combined with other, similar things that are available, how can such a technology and such a, use of technology bring a great change in the sports momentum, bring a great change in the health with the sports, and health also independent of sports from a sports point of view, please.
Yes. So one of the core lacking areas in India, because if you look at the common tweet that was populating through the Olympics, you could see that he was saying, in India, schools have one PTA period in a week, that too taken by the maths teacher, and you expect Indians to win the Olympics. Because a core problem in India is that children do not receive proper physical conditioning at a young age. And because this physical conditioning is not received, a lot of these players become unfit, because we were doing a body fat concentration test. And even players who play in prominent leagues do not fit the requisite body fat concentration levels. So they are not fit at a required level. And because of this, a lot of investments, because a lot of sports entertainment or event structure in India is not developing, because these people are not fit at a young age. And the grassroots event structure, following a proper process all the way to national or international events, is required if players are to be given opportunity. Now, what technology that we can do by partnering with schools, we are ensuring that not only do schools ensure that the players stay fit, but they also start to receive an opportunity in sports. Any scout, any academy can now identify these players, because with IPL and ISL coming in, so many events are coming up. And these events will start to notice these players, and this will have a network effect. The more the players are scouted, the more events are going to come up. This will in turn generate more revenue, and this will seem more prospective. And we are looking at a mentality shift, which is very important. And this is what I want to focus on. And this is what companies like Dartel or other technology enablers can do. They can give that confidence to create that mentality shift that is required, a more data-driven approach.
Thank you. Same, 1 minute, Mr. Raina, in terms of a closing remark from you.
As I said, that for a healthy society, now we have to make it very mandatory. Okay, jo old ho gaye, we leave them. Now, what we do from today as a nation, we have to make it mandatory in our government, private hospitals to have a real, correct, and strict protocol for the babies which are being brought into the world, into the nation today. Let us have a beginning from there. Let us start from there and have a protocol for hearing aid, hearing testing. Testing. Because as I said earlier also, if they will not hear, they will not speak, they will not communicate, and it will lead to a very, very unhealthy society. We are sitting on a volcano. 6.3% is a staggering number. Out of a population of 30-40 lakh, 6 lakh, 6% is minuscule. They can be taken care of. But when we are a nation of 140 crore, 1.4 billion people, so 6% becomes a very, very huge. So, jo ho gaya, so ho gaya. Let us make a start. But with all government hospitals, with all private hospitals, the hearing protocol has to come into place immediately. Exactly. Because our priorities are different. We are entangled into different things. We have left this thing. We have just left it. You go to deaf schools, you see their state. We have just left this huge population untreated. I use the word untreated. So my request is all social organizations, NGOs, government should see to it that these babies who are brought into this world are properly tested for hearing aid, for hearing at birth, 3, 6, 9 months at least in first year for India to become a healthy nation. Healthy nation can only be scientists, engineers, and sports people. Otherwise, very difficult. We have to make a start.
Thank you. So, only thing I'll broaden it in terms of as a healthcare. Hearing is one aspect. All parts of the body has to go through the same test. Taking hearing this thing from today's point of view as an example, because as we all know, ear is one of the sort of least respected item in the face or in the body. So, coming to conclude today's session, let me thank, of course, both the eminent speakers for whatever way they could bring knowledge, whatever way they could enlighten people on the need for the respective technology, the respective sector, the respective way things have to go forward. And also to tell the world that people like you all are there, like we are all there, to see that India will be a prime place. India will recognize its weakness. We are not shy of talking of the weakness, but we always talk of the weakness with the strength which we will bring about to overcome the weakness. It is no use becoming a crybaby, because the expectations from India are really, really high. Because we were the people who taught the world 7,000 years back. We taught the world so many things. Suddenly we were probably overconfident. We didn't take care of our borders properly, and we were driven to the wall. But now again we are a growing country. We are taking care of ourselves properly, and that's why in many sectors we are really good. But unfortunately, in sports we are not really good. We have to see that there are more Nihals coming in picture, seeing that every sector of where this thing has to go, and more Rainas to take care of every sector. It should not be hearing alone. Hearing is one very important aspect. Hearing, eyesight, nose, see what to speak, and more than everything, how to think. Because we consider ourselves as a knowledge giver for the world. So we have to see that, we expand our knowledge and also ensure that the knowledge is given properly. Because knowledge, again, is like a white paper. If you see bad thing, everything will be bad. If you see good, everything will be good. So knowledge has to go for the good of the world. Knowledge has to go to give more, benefits and happiness to the world. With that, let me again thank both of you and today's session. And Namaste, Jai Hind.
Namaste.